Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going beyond the practice room, really, and into the most critical space for any performer, the mind.
Mm.
I mean, if you're an artist, you know that success isn't just about, spending endless hours on scales and technique.
No, it's the mental game. That's what truly separates the successful artist from the frustrated one.
Right.
The pressure in the arts is just, it's unlike anything else. You are literally putting your deepest emotional expression out there for judgment.
And that vulnerability, that's what fuels performance anxiety.
Yeah.
The number is something like, what, 70% of musicians?
Up to 70%, yeah. At some point in their careers, it's staggering.
And then you factor in the modern challenge, which is just overwhelming. I mean, we're talking about over 100,000 new songs.
Hitting streaming services daily.
Daily. How do you even begin to cut through that kind of noise? It requires more than just good music.
Oh, absolutely. It requires profound confidence, a real internal clarity, and strategic resilience.
So that's our mission today.
That's it. We've pulled together everything related to neuro-linguistic programming, or NLP, and strategic artistic development. We want to give you the actionable toolkit to, rewire your mental patterns and turn that stage fright into focused energy.
To achieve that consistent peak performance.
Exact.
Okay, let's start with what you call the performance paradox. This is something I think every artist has felt.
Mm-hmm.
You chase technical perfection for years, right? But the moment you step into that high-stakes environment, an audition, a big concert, that focus on perfection actually triggers a physical shutdown.
That's the paradox. The trembling hands, the racing heart, that mental fog.
Yeah.
The more technically prepared you feel you should be, the higher the pressure is on the emotional delivery. And this is where NLP offers a really powerful reframe.
How so?
The sources all highlight that anxiety and excitement are physiologically the exact same state.
Wait, really? The same.
Identical. It's the same surge of energy, the same heightened awareness.
So if the physical feeling is the same, then the only difference is the label we put on it.
Precisely. The difference is the story you tell yourself about that feeling. NLP is the methodology you use to rewrite that story.
It's like your mind's operating system.
That's a perfect way to put it. Neuro is about how your brain processes experiences through your five senses.
So how you hear your own music in your head or how you picture a mistake.
Exactly. And you can influence that. Then there's linguistic. That's your internal self-talk.
The inner critic.
That relentless inner critic, yeah. And your external communication. Both of those shape your reality.
And the last part is programming.
Right. The ability to consciously update or replace those unhelpful learned patterns like self-doubt and install new, more resourceful ones.
I think this is the piece that is so often missing from traditional education.
It really is.
You could have the best technique coach in the world, but if you don't tackle imposter syndrome or that paralyzing fear of judgment, the technique is useless under pressure.
It is. NLP bridges that gap. It teaches you to see that nervous energy not as a threat you have to manage, but as pure performance fuel.
Fuel that sharpens your focus.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's get into the practical toolkit. This is where it gets really interesting for anyone listening. What are the core, actionable NLP techniques you can use right away?
So the first one is mental rehearsal and visualization. And we know from the data, this isn't just wishful thinking. Intense mental rehearsal activates the exact same neural pathways as physical practice.
So your brain can't tell the difference between a vividly imagined performance and a real one.
It cannot. You're essentially practicing your best performance without ever touching your instrument.
But I imagine the quality of that visualization matters. You can't just, vaguely picture it.
Oh, it's everything. The technique has to be rigorously multisensory. It's not just seeing yourself on stage. That's too passive.
So what does that mean, multisensory?
You have to engage sight, see the audience reacting well, see the lights. You engage sound, hear your ideal tone, the perfect timing. Touch, feel the instrument in your hands, the temperature of the air, and most importantly, emotion.
You have to feel the success before it happens.
You feel that flow state, that sense of accomplishment. That detailed map becomes the blueprint for your brain to follow.
That makes so much sense. Okay, tool number 2 is anchoring. This sounds like, what, instant confidence on demand.
That is a perfect description. An anchor is a physiological trigger that you link to a powerful emotional state, calm, focus, flow, whatever you need.
How do you build one?
The process is key. First, you recall a peak moment of confidence. You really immerse yourself in that memory, that feeling. Then, right as those positive feelings are at their peak and only then, You apply a unique physical gesture.
Something subtle.
Yeah, very subtle, like pressing your thumb and forefinger together or a slight shift in your posture, something no one would ever notice.
Like a secret handshake with your own subconscious.
Exactly. And you test it, you fire the anchor later and confirm that the positive state comes back instantly. Now you have a portable resource you can use backstage right before you walk out.
Okay, next up is reframing. Now, here's a challenge. For a lot of artists, the issues are real and systemic. Financial instability, constant rejection, isn't telling them to just reframe anxiety as excitement, a bit of a band-aid.
That is a valid point, and it's why shallow reframing fails. This isn't about ignoring the pressure, it's about consciously altering the meaning you give it.
Okay.
So a simple reframe is situational. You choose to interpret that racing heart not as I'm losing control, but as my body is giving me maximum energy to meet this challenge.
And what about that inner critic, the voice telling you your art isn't good enough?
You reframe its intent. That critic is usually trying to protect you from failure, from humiliation. Its intent is positive, even if the delivery is terrible.
So you don't fight it.
You don't fight it. You acknowledge it. Thank you for trying to keep me safe. And then you ask, what specific feedback can I pull from this instead of letting it be a paralyzing personal attack? You turn a global judgment into actionable data.
And the final tool here, submodality shifts. This is the idea that we can basically adjust the knobs and sliders on our internal experiences.
Less. Every thought has sensory qualities. A stressful memory of a mistake might be, in your mind, a really large, bright, loud image.
Okay.
If the sound of failure for you is, say, a harsh, buzzing noise, you can consciously perform a submodality shift. You take that internal sound, you slow the pitch down, you turn the volume down, you move it far away from you until it's just a distant hum.
You're literally turning down the emotional volume on the things holding you back.
And you do the opposite for the good stuff. You amplify resourceful states, that memory of a great concert. You make that image larger, brighter, you turn up the sound, make it full color so it dominates your internal landscape.
You make the positive memories more influential than the negative ones.
That's the goal.
So if that internal game is strong, the next challenge is sustaining it against all the external pressures rejection, the market. This brings us to sustained growth and resilience.
Resilience is it's non-negotiable in the music industry. When criticism or rejection hits, you need a system for bouncing back stronger.
So how?
You learn to deconstruct the message. Don't let feedback become a personal attack. Break it down into specific, non-personal elements. Was it about the song's arrangement? The marketing? The venue?
And then you immediately reframe it for growth. See it not as failure, but as high-value specific information.
Exactly. And this is all tied to developing an internal locus of control. Your artistic identity, your self-worth has to be completely separate from external opinions or market validation.
If you perform well by your standards, the outside noise can't shake you.
It can't shake your core. And this applies directly to goal setting, where artists often get it wrong.
How does NLP change the way you set goals?
It starts with sensory-specific outcomes. So instead of a vague goal like get more streams, you define what success looks, sounds, smells, tastes, and feels like.
You make it real for the brain.
You anchor it in a complete sensory experience so your mind works toward a concrete reality, not just an abstract wish.
But the step that a lot of people miss is the ecology check.
Yeah.
You said this prevents self-sabotage. How does an artist actually do that check?
The ecology check is a simple but powerful question. How will achieving this goal impact all the other important areas of my life and my values? So if your goal is a year-long world tour, but a core value is being present for your family, the ecology check immediately flags that conflict.
And that conflict is where self-sabotage comes from.
Precisely. So it forces you to redesign the goal, maybe shorter, higher-profile tours, so that it aligns with your deeper values, preventing burnout before it even begins.
That's so smart. And for the day-to-day work, to avoid getting overwhelmed.
You combine that NLT mindset with structured work, like the Pomodoro technique.
25-minute focus bursts.
Exactly. You chunk down these massive projects, like writing an album, into manageable intervals. It prevents fatigue, and it builds momentum through small, consistent wins.
And all of that focus has to be rooted in something deeper, right? To get through the constant rejection.
It has to be. You have to define your why, your artistic mission, the real reason you create. That becomes your unwavering compass. When setbacks hit, you don't question if you should continue. You just figure out how to adjust the path to fulfill your core purpose.
Okay, so once that internal architecture is solid, the focus shifts outward. to
Yeah.
connecting with audiences, collaborators, the industry.
Right, external mastery.
We're diving into building genuine rapport and a brand that actually cuts through all that noise.
And connection is everything. NLP gives you tools for that, like active listening and matching and mirroring.
Active listening seems straightforward, but what about matching and mirroring? To be honest, that sounds a little
Yeah.
manipulative.
I get that. But it's not about mimicking someone. It's about subtly aligning your body language, your tone of voice, your energy with theirs. When it's done subtly, it builds deep subconscious trust and credibility very quickly. It just makes people feel comfortable and heard, whether you're in a studio session or a business meeting.
And that sense of being heard leads right into audience connection
Right.
through empathy.
Absolutely. Being a phenomenal listener is maybe the most valuable business skill you can have. When you really connect with what your audience is feeling, you can create music that articulates something they're struggling to express themselves.
You make them feel seen.
Seen, understood, validated. That shared emotional space is what builds real, lasting loyalty.
Now let's tie that back to the 100,000 songs a day problem.
Yeah.
This is where branding becomes, well, essential.
It's no longer optional. Music alone is not enough to cut through. Your brand is your strategic advantage. It's like a beacon that guides the right fans, the people who resonate with your mission, directly to you.
It gives them a coherent story to believe in.
And it ensures you're recognizable. The sources laid out 4 pillars for an authentic artistic identity, and they all have to align perfectly.
Okay, what are they?
First, your musical style, your unique sonic fingerprint. Second, lyrical themes, the consistent stories and emotional landscapes you explore. Third is your personal story.
Your real background, your journey, where vulnerability builds trust.
Exactly. And fourth, and this is key for recognition, is your visual aesthetics.
So the album art, the colors you use, your stage presence.
The whole visual language, the color palette, the typography, the imagery, it all has to reinforce the other 3 pillars. If your music is dark and introspective, your visuals can't be bright and cheerful. When all 4 align, you create an unshakable, magnetic brand.
And when you're using social media to build that brand, how do you prioritize content?
You have to replace broadcasting with community. Think of the 3 C's framework. The first is connection.
So sharing the real stories, the process, not just the polished final song.
Exactly, the journey behind the music. Second is consistency. A regular schedule so fans know when and where to find you.
And the third C, the one that's so often neglected, is conversation.
Conversation. Active interaction. Answering questions, replying to comments, acknowledging feedback. You have to make fans feel valued and heard. That's what transforms passive listeners into a loyal community.
It has to be a dialogue, not a monologue.
A dialogue, not a stream of announcements, yes.
This has been, wow. This deep dive really shows that being a successful artist today is as much about mastering the mental game as it is mastering your instrument.
It really is.
NLP gives you that blueprint to turn nervousness into focused energy, to build real confidence, and to consistently perform at your authentic best.
And it's about creating sustainable excellence from the inside out. You move beyond just managing your fears to actually shaping your future internal state.
So what does this all mean for you, the artist listening right now? The power to perform at your peak, it's already inside you. You've got the blueprint now, the tools for connection, the structure for growth.
So here's a final thought. You now know the mechanics of this stuff. What one small, concrete NLP technique will you commit to today to start rewiring your creative patterns?
Just one thing.
Just one. Will you take 5 minutes to do a multisensory visualization of your next performance? Or will you set a physical anchor right now, that subtle gesture that instantly brings back a feeling of deep focus? The transformation starts with that single intentional step.